episode of Invested, where we discuss the ever-evolving world of the creator economy and our $17 million Regulation A equity crowdfund on Start Engine. I am your host, Isaac Hayes III, and to my far left is Noah Washington, head of partnerships and communications at Fanbase. What's up, man?
Nothing, man. How was your MLK weekend?
It was good. I relaxed. I went to Keisha Lance Bottom's birthday party.
Nice.
Sunday night, and then my sister's brunch,
Nice.
her birthday brunch.
Happy birthday, Miss Heather.
Yeah, that was cool. That was fun as well. And then I watched the national championship last night. Watched Indiana.
What are you rooting for?
Indiana and Miami. I didn't have anybody to root for, but it was a really good game. It went down to the wire, all the way to the last interception that was thrown by the quarterback used to play for Georgia. So he's at Miami now.
What a great transition moment, right?
Oh, what do you mean?
For our first topic.
Man, listen. So let's get into this stupid.
I can sense the Arthur Blake Foundation just quaking right now.
About what I'm about to say?
Yep.
All right, so, let's jump right into it because football is the first thing we're going to talk about. Over the weekends, the Atlanta Falcons hired Kevin Stefanski and fired Raheem Morris, right at the end of the season. And it drew a lot of enraged anger from the Atlanta fan base.
As it should. Atlanta is one of the highest populated black cities in America.
Mm-hmm.
So it's easy to say that translates into one of the biggest African-American fan bases in the NFL.
It's a black football city. So if you don't know, when you look at the Atlanta Falcons, you're not just looking at a football team. You're looking at a cultural institution, a city. We're unapologetically black. We're connected. And so when the Falcons hired Kevin Stefanski and fired Raheem Morris, obviously I took issue with that for a multitude of reasons. Number one, there's been a lot of controversy around Kevin Stefanski and his treatment of Shedeur Sanders, Deion Sanders' son, who Deion Sanders is a prominent Atlanta Falcons football player, probably one of the most famous Atlanta Falcons next to Michael Vick.
Yep.
And so I took to the airwaves to express my frustration. Some people agreed, other people didn't, but I wanted to kind of get into some of the numbers of why this didn't make sense. So first thing I'm going to start out with is Kevin Stefanski's head coaching record before coming to Atlanta and Cleveland. Let's just take his last 3 seasons in Cleveland. His last 3 seasons were 11-6, 3-14, and 5-12. Now, if I'm looking at Raheem Morris, his first year he went 4-7. Then 2024 he went 8-9, and then 2025 he went 8-9. So he had a better record than Kevin Stefanski. Now we all know Matt Ryan took over the president of the Atlanta Falcons. I don't understand this move, but I was just saying it's racial to me because there are a lot of things associated with the Falcons and Deion Sanders and Shedeur Sanders, right? So now you got Kevin Stefanski, the guy that didn't really rock with Shedeur Sanders. Do you remember during the draft when Shedeur got a prank phone call that he was drafted?
I do remember that.
And who did that phone call come from?
That was the son of the coach.
Not one of the coaches of the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
Coincidence, weird kind of thing here. And then I know that 4 guys drove all the way to Cleveland to attempt to rob Shedeur Sanders' house. And what city were they from?
Were they from Cleveland?
No, they were from Atlanta.
Oh, geez.
They drove all the way from Atlanta up to Cleveland to try to rob Shedeur Sanders. And now we have Matt Ryan hiring Kevin Stefanski. I just think it's a bad move, but and the city's pissed about it. I'd be
pissed too.
I think people
celebrate our players so well here.
Yeah, I think this adds another layer of the curse to the Falcons that we already have. I think we've been cursed multiple times, but probably more so from Vic. But now we add Deion onto it. We just, we don't treat our players very well. But I think people thought Mike Tomlin might be a better fit for the city.
Well, I mean, we treat them well if their names are Bijan Robinson and AJ Terrell.
Okay, cool.
But no. So let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think this hits a nerve in Atlanta specifically more than any other city?
Because Atlanta's a black fan base. I mean, Atlanta's a black football city. Like, when you think about maybe New Orleans, Baltimore, and pretty much Atlanta are probably really black football cities,
So you just the follow up to that is you just put a whole bunch of connect them for the people who need it explained to them.
Mm-hmm. Which ones?
All of the dots. Connect all the dots, the ones that you just explained for the people who need it explained.
So Kevin Stefanski was not a fan of Shedeur Sanders in Cleveland. They drafted him, but I don't think Stefanski wanted him to play. When he was put into the game, Shedeur Sanders, when he started playing, Shedeur Sanders thrived pretty well. Did some amazing things in just a few games that he played. And Stefanski was fired at the end of that season and immediately hired by the Falcons, which, again, I don't know why Matt Ryan would do such a dumb move, but he did. And then, again, the one of the coaches to the Falcons, staff made this prank phone call to Shedeur Sanders. And so I just think it hits a nerve because we love Deion in this city, like in Atlanta Brave, in Atlanta Falcon. We're a black city. We have a black quarterback. We want a black coach, probably to continue to coach. I don't even know what's going to happen with Michael Penix Jr. now because Stefanski probably won't want him. So it's a bunch of stuff that's just about to happen that I think that's why everybody's upset.
So when do you think these smaller instances will lead to a bigger optics issue, and who's going to feel the pain more? You think the Arthur Blank Foundation or the NFL?
I don't even fault Arthur Blank. I don't think it's a Blank thing. I think this is a Matt Ryan decision. Matt Ryan is married to Arthur Blank's daughter. So this is just his first decision that he's made being in charge of the Falcons, and I just think it's a stupid decision.
So what do you think, what's the responsibility do you think that team leaders should consider for community and when it comes to community sentiment?
I'm not, to a degree, listen, hire who you want to hire, but at least read the room. You know what I'm saying? Don't hire the guy that disrespected the son of one of the most famous Falcons players of all time to coach a football team in a predominantly black city. Read the room. If Matt Ryan doesn't care about that, because if I was the fan base, I'm not I don't support NFL games or stuff like that. So, but I wouldn't buy none of them tickets. That's how you really get the things. If those types of people make those types of decisions, you can lose your job relatively quickly. If you make a bad sports decision in a city and the city and the fan base don't agree with it, it will show up in the finances. That's old boy who did the Luka Doncic trade in Dallas. He got fired right after he did that end of the season, did that trade. That's what I'm saying. You can get him up out of there. Matt Ryan won't be there long if the fan base doesn't want him there if he does dumb decisions. So,
What do you, my last question to you about this is, what do you think the overall health of the city will be as it relates to football going into this season?
If something doesn't change quickly, I don't know. The Falcons are just, I feel like a lot of these teams in the city are run like businesses and not like they're really, really trying to win sometimes. Because sometimes you have to stay the course. I don't like the way that the NFL treats coaches and players anyway. So quick. It's like, couple seasons and you're fired. Like, bro, sometimes it takes more than two. The urgency for people to win in such a very, very fast time is really, crazy. The pressure that puts on coaches to even think you got job stability when you got to ride it out for a while. So, it is what it is, but I ain't rocking with it. So, good luck to the Falcons fan base this season, but I ain't with this shit.
So let's get into one. You want to open us up for over the weekend, Nicki Minaj and Don Lemon?
I'll let you do that one.
You okay?
Yeah, you rock it out.
Okay.
Because this is wild because I don't know what Nicki Minaj thinks she doing.
No, that. All right, let me say it, guys.
Yeah, say it.
Okay. So this is actually a story that is unfolding right now in real time. Over these past few weeks, we've been seeing what's happening in Minneapolis, and so right now, this is getting heated. So journalist Don Lemon, formerly of CNN and now independent commentator, went to the protests and live streams part of what was happening in Minneapolis while reporting on the events that was taking place. That coverage drew intense reactions online, where then rapper Nicki Minaj took to X and blasted Lemon with harsh language, calling him a thug, some homophobic remarks, and demanding that he be jailed, accusing him of disrespecting religion and the church where the protest occurred. Lemon subsequently fired back in his own posts and videos, claiming that Nicki Minaj needed to get a life, defending himself as a journalist doing his job, and accusing Minaj of speaking about something she knew little about, while also calling out the language she used. All right, that's part one.
Okay.
Afterwards, the Department of Justice has now publicly criticized Lemon's presence at the protest, suggesting that he is on notice under federal law for his coverage because places of worship are protected spaces under statutes like the FACE Act, and DOJ officials have indicated potential legal consequences tied to the protest disruption.
Well, so basically, what they're saying is that allegedly one of the pastors of the church that Don Lemon went to is supposed to be involved in ICE in Minnesota. So that's why people were going to protest at that church, because he is actually part of ICE. So Don went there to report that. The federal government says they might charge him under the Ku Klux Klan Act,
which is the most bonkers
yeah,
thing you can think of to do right now.
Right.
Like, what?
I have no idea why they would do that. And then you fold in Nicki Minaj, who for whatever reason is, looking up under MAGA and running to Donald Trump.
Because that money is drying up.
Probably, maybe. Is that what you think?
Oh, definitely. Because my thing is and I think she's isolated a lot of people as a result of her marriage, right? Pregnancy, ticket sales going down. It's a pretty easy conclusion to see that she's had a rough few years, probably on the financial end of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest thing, and I think Don Lemon made a point about this, Nicki Minaj is the last person who should be talking about any of this, especially her homophobic remarks when her husband is a convicted sex offender. She was definitely the wrong person to say any of this, and it was even outlandish for her to say any of this to begin with, right? But why do you think Minaj is taking his coverage? It seems like she's taking it personally.
I think Nicki Minaj looks for opportunities to fight with public figures to get attention.
Yeah, I agree.
I think she injects herself into things that have nothing to do with her. She riles up the barbs and the fan base, which are loyal to her and they're going to love her. And she further drives a wedge in between people that were, passive fans on the fringe and not her hardcore fan base, which those people definitely support you with. It's not the millions and millions of people around the world that used to love Nicki Minaj for the music that she used to create. And now she's throwing herself into this political arena, which doesn't make sense at the end of the day. I think the problem for Nicki is, and one of the things I used to talk about a lot is I said this is probably 15 years ago, I said that it's going to be a problem for some of the current generation artists to actually fade into obscurity and not be the most famous person in the room anymore. Yep. Right? So when you think about it, I think this current generation of creators are trying to hold on to their fame way longer than they need to. And they're just doing tricks and anything to stay relevant when really it's past your time. The internet gives you a voice or a platform, but it's everybody quietly fades into their esteemed position of legacy as an artist, but they're not trying to hog the spotlight. So Usher's a legacy artist. Beyonce's legacy. When you think about at that time, you think about, if you just take Beyonce at the time, but think about all the artists that were famous, if not more famous than Beyonce at the time, that have come and gone. Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, Britney Spears, Nelly, Eminem. All these were artists that were hugely popular. And then when you got into the era of the Drakes, the Nickis, and the Waynes, everybody just doesn't even remain famous forever. Michael Jackson at a point was the most famous person on the planet. But towards the later years of his life, he was still revered as the king of pop, but he wasn't the most popular person that people looked to. And so I think she's just holding on to the spotlight. And I think at the same time, she's aligning herself with Trump.
Because he creates conversation.
Yeah, which creates conversation. And who knows? I mean, you saying you think she's getting paid. I don't know. I mean, she could possibly.
There is no way in my mind there isn't an exchange of money for
Okay.
sure. Why would you like alienate your fan base,
Mhm.
right? You're, as you said, you're on the fringe fan base, right?
Mhm.
Maybe not your diehards, and even I was talking to a friend of mine, who is a journalist and was a barb,
Mhm.
alienated them.
Oh,
Like,
really?
yeah, so it's like you're taking away some of your loyal fans too. Like, it makes no sense to me why she would do this. It
Oh, yeah.
makes absolutely no sense.
I mean, well, Don, Don is one of our people. Seeing
He's gonna go where where the action is, and
he ain't backing down.
exactly. But he said he was doing objective journalism,
Mhm.
not activism. So, in your opinion, where's the differentiator? Do you think he was being more of an activist or a journalist in this situation?
No, Don is always a journalist.
Yeah.
I think he's going to show up to the situation and bring attention to it. I think people don't like that because, again, the administration and the powers that be are trying to control the media. So they don't want these types of stories getting out there because there's been numerous now stories. We had a young boy lose his eye. He got shot in the eye with a rubber bullet. He's blind in one eye for life. We had ICE, tear gas, young black couple in their car with their 4-year-old. I think it might have been younger than that. It was an infant, like months old daughter, and doing all these things. And so they don't want these stories to get out because these things kind of make them look like the bullies that they are and the bad things that they're doing. And they just want to try to control that narrative and that conversation, which is why social media is so important, which is why, being an independent journalist is really, really important as these networks get compromised and get swapped out with people that are loyal to the presidency.
We're living Star Wars right now. These are stormtroopers. Like, let's not get it twisted. Like, and what's crazy to me is we grew up, we always sided with the resistance, right?
Mhm.
In any of our movies, right? In this metaphor, it's Luke Skywalker versus the Empire,
Mhm.
and it's wild to me that so many people are choosing the Empire.
But I don't think people are choosing the empire. What I think is that in those movies where there is the resistance, right?
Yeah,
Like everybody loves those people.
yeah,
It seems like in real life nobody wants to be those people though.
exactly.
Like y'all talk all this resistance shit, like you know what I'm saying, like the Matrix and Star Wars and Terminator. When it's time for you to be part of the resistance, people just sitting at home like, I don't know, me? Y'all want me to get out there and resist? And so I think that yeah, because we're gonna need to vote in numbers that dwarf any election ever to actually kind of get out of this
Yep.
swell of, I don't know what you call this because the things that they're doing right now, this police state energy that they got going on. We're gonna have to come out and vote in numbers that can't be disputed. Like people are gonna have to win. Like candidates are gonna have to win elections by 20 points. Just crazy numbers for them to not say that the election was rigged. And they're the ones that are gonna probably try to rig the election.
You know what's crazy? Over the weekend, there were sightings of ICE up here in Atlanta, Georgia, in Camp Creek.
Mm-hmm.
If you knew that, so that means we have a large Hispanic population.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think ICE is going to make some noise in Atlanta?
I think ICE is going to be the bullies of every city, especially when it comes to election time. Don't be surprised if you see ICE agents sitting outside of polling locations trying to scare people not to come out and vote. Even people that are American citizens who just don't want to feel like they want to be targeted to vote. Think about that. I mean, that's the real, concern that I think some creatives and some people and some pundits have talked about, the fact that they're probably going to try to come in here and shut this whole thing down when it comes to the election. So we better get out and vote. I'm telling you right now, like these midterms are probably, and I know we say this all the time, that this is the most important election of our lifetime, but the stakes keep getting higher and higher every year, right?
Yeah.
And I think really initially, I think this version of the Trump administration is what people thought we were going to get in 2016 to 2020. This is why they didn't want him to be president, because the person that he is right now is who he thought was coming from 2016 to 2020. But luckily enough, there's enough to slow him down. But now that he's back in, they're running through walls of laws. They're running through, and they already said if they don't win the election in November that they're going to jail. They've already said if we don't win midterms, we're going to jail.
This leads me switching back into the topic, right? Do you believe the DOJ acted as a result of Nicki Minaj putting a spotlight on this feud with her and Don Lemon.
I think they're using that again as an opportunity to show two black people against one another.
Yeah.
And then side with the person that is for free speech, for gay rights, African American, black, all those things, and picking the side of Nicki, who is apparently just a Trump loyalist that doesn't understand very much about politics and what's going on in the government. So,
and then the follow-up question to that is, and neither of us are lawyers, but is this even legal for them to go after Don Lemon like this, or even morally right?
I doubt it, just because the freedom of the press is one of the things that, freedom of assembly, freedom of press, the protesting, all these things. They're just trying to control the narrative, and I don't think that that's going to end well for them, just try to do it like that.
I want to give a shout out to all the citizen journalists, independent journalists, and just the local reporters who are really capturing this right now, because national news is not putting a spotlight on any of these troubling concerns and the ways like, no, I don't think so. I think you have your pockets of people who are like coming out, like CNN's been pretty good, but CNN, if we go back to 2000 and let's see, I want to say 21, when David Zaslav first became the CEO of Warner Brothers, and gained control of CNN. One of his first things that he said that went out was that he thought CNN was being too harsh against the Trump campaign, and I think that really affected us come the election cycle in 2024, which led us to where we are here today. So, I mean, it is what it is. It's my opinion, is just that. So my question is, what roles should celebrities and public figures have when it comes to politics and current events happening in the world?
I think you can use your platforms to bring attention to political causes, right?
Yeah.
What you shouldn't do, and often sometimes that I see celebrities and public figures do, is because you're rich and famous, feel like you speak on behalf of black people. Like, don't speak like, like I remember Diddy talking about, we're going to hold our vote. Who is we? I remember Ice Cube talking about, we have a plan for black America. Who is we? Right? All these assertions that because you're rich and famous, that you speak on behalf of black people is null and void. You don't speak on behalf of black people. Speak for yourself, right? So, like, we're past kneeling. Who's past kneeling?
Yeah, that is crazy.
No, you're past kneeling. Just say you're past kneeling, but we ain't past kneeling. We still rock with Kaepernick, right? So I think sometimes black, and this is why I say the danger of the people that are in the positions of wealth in the black community, because they share such a powerful relationship between white supremacy and black culture. Because white people look at them like, oh, well, you're the most famous and successful black people, so obviously everybody listens to you because you've made it. And I think that's how simple they think black people are, but it's like, no, because intelligence is compartmental. Because you made some really great business decisions and you're a very talented person, doesn't mean at all that you are the person to lead a political conversation or a discussion about what we need to be doing in the black community, right? That should not be happening at all.
One of the things that I hate that I'm seeing is, Donald Trump opened a door where popularity, and I know this has always been the case, but popularity means power. And so now we're throwing all sorts of people into the conversation of who should run for president next. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Like, what? Like,
Stephen A. Smith.
Exactly. Like, real. And the thing that makes these are serious opinions, right? Like, there is not the foresight of, like, that might be a bad idea, right? Like,
I'll say this. I won't blame the celebrities.
Yeah.
I blame Republicans and Democrats for, number one, not living up to the promises that they promise voters every 4 years, right? So then you get a bunch of people that are totally dissatisfied with the way things are going. And then when you happen to do that, they're going to turn to somebody that listens to them. So they're going to turn to a Donald Trump. They're going to turn to somebody that says, you know what? It's the Mexicans' fault. It's black people's fault that you don't have a job. And Mexican people's fault that you don't have a job. And all these immigrants, and they're taking on your jobs. And so people of color are the scapegoat for the failures of America to take care of its own people, to have free health care and and raise the price of minimum wage and, and provide better education and opportunity. So for all that to happen, all of a sudden, it's got to be, the Somalis, whatever, it's got to be the Mexicans, or there got to be the black people that are the reason who's doing that when there are plenty of German immigrants and there are plenty of Irish immigrants and, from other countries that aren't being, sought out and harassed. So, and when someone like, Trump gets into office, he turned politics into a competition. He made it competitive. And I was like, that is the best and the worst thing to ever happen to politics ever, because everybody understands competition. But the problem is we're not talking about the issues. It's just about one side beating the other side. That's it. It's not about are people really getting health care, because most of the people that receive welfare benefits are not African American people. So you have people fighting against their own interests just to win, but it doesn't make any sense. So, hey.
Well, let me ask a question with that. With that being said, do you believe our political leaders are now our new celebrities? When we look at people like Mandani, and we look at people like Gavin Newsom, who are making such a war just for standing up to Donald Trump, do you believe that there's a correlation?
I don't think they should be. I think they're using social media to elevate their platforms, which they should. They should take advantage of all the mediums to reach the masses of people, right? So if I can post short videos and tweets and show exactly how I feel about what's going on, yes, but don't let the celebrity go to your head, because that's the beginning of the end. That's when you do get corrupted, and that's when the crazy things do start happening. People try to throw you money, and everybody wants to be your friend, and it's all sexy and glamorous. But no, just take that elevated position and allow yourself to use that as a platform to talk about the changes we need to make in this country before things are too late.
You have any more thoughts about this particular subject before we hit this next bit of craziness?
Before we hit the Dougie on the next bit of craziness? Well, you know what, though? Couple things. One, no, you didn't ask me about my sweatshirt.
Dude, you're totally right. And we were talking about it. The famous Air Atlanta is now on a hoodie.
So typically no one wears something from a black designer every week on Invested. And early in the podcast, probably about a couple months ago, I talked about Air Atlanta, which is the first commercial black-owned airline, founded right here in Atlanta, Georgia. And I said, you know what, I'm going to go make me a hoodie, because this is fly. I love the logo. I thought it was dope. I think this would go really good with some Carmine 6s for Jordans. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get your Carmine 6s with the burgundy and the boom in the red. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, yo, it'll make a good hoodie. So I had this made, but it's fly, and I've gotten plenty of compliments on this.
No, it is fly. It is
real culture. This is real culture, a part of Atlanta, and part of the legacy of the black innovation and entrepreneurship of this city. So I love it. Like, this is it. And I'm pretty sure somebody's gonna want one of these, but again.
Hartsfield Jackson. We're right here.
No.
Come on, man.
Hit us up. You know what I'm saying? Say, hey, man. But make sure you talk to the Michael's family, the founder of Air Atlanta, and probably sell this, and make sure he gets some, if you want to sell it. If the airport ever wanted to sell these, which Noah suggested that they should, but make sure that his family gets compensated for this logo, because it's dope.
So a little, this isn't a Black History Museum in the airport, but in the airport, they're opening or have opened a mini version of the Hip Hop Museum, and that should go there, just to say that. Okay, so hear about your president in Greenland?
Go ahead, talk about it.
So recently, Donald Trump has reignited an unprecedented international dispute by pushing to acquire Greenland, a self-governing territory of Denmark. Trump posted images on social media depicting Greenland and even parts of Canada as a U.S. territory, and asserted that there is no going back on the idea of pulling Greenland into the United States or securing total control of it. He has linked this pursuit directly to not receiving the Nobel Peace Prize, telling a Norwegian leader that he no longer feels an obligation to think purely of peace, and using that as a rationale for aggressive negotiating and even threats of tariffs against European allies who oppose the plan. All right, man.
What you want me to? I mean, shoot.
Where we, man?
Well, a couple things. This would be the beginning of the end of the United States of America.
Definitely in NATO.
Because NATO, because NATO, if the United States invades Greenland, which they keep talking about doing so, we will lose NATO. And it's not necessarily because of we have no allies then. The United States of America will be just sitting out here as by ourselves, the bullies in the corner with no friends. And I'm pretty sure the arrogant white supremacists think that they have the muscle and might to beat the world when, bro, it done nothing look more good than a sitting duck on the table with all the people, all the enemies that United States of America has. I think at the core of this, from what I've been hearing, is that a lot of the founders of the PayPal mafia are the ones behind this Greenland thing. And the reason that they're behind this Greenland thing is they want to create these kind of like these lawless cities as experiments, these future tech cities that don't have law enforcement rules or anything. They just want to create their own tech cities. So there's a little bit of a chain that I saw a segment online that if you look at the people that are associated with this, there is a LLC, a Greenland LLC that was created by one of the founders of PayPal. Peter Thiel and Elon Musk are part of another initiative that has something to do with Greenland, and they founded PayPal. The U.S. ambassador to Denmark is one of the founders of PayPal. So it's all kind of coming together and seeing that this is really the tech bros really trying to take over Greenland for whatever they want to. I think they say Elon wants to use it for data centers because it's cold up there. You know what I'm saying? That's what they want it for. They really try. And again, when I say every time that when you hear people of color and black people call white people colonizers, this is what they mean. Like Greenland has been part of Denmark for over 300 years. No one has ever said that.
Nobody. I have never heard anybody in U.S. history
ever
say,
just say, you know what, that should be ours. But you know, when you have people like Stephen Miller getting said, well, who says Greenland belongs to Denmark? Like Denmark did, and no one objected. But now here you come trying to take over a country for it's. I mean, this is what imperialism and white supremacy looks like in real time. And I'm telling you, like NATO, there's a lot of. It's not about also losing the protection of NATO from a muscle standpoint, because a lot of NATO allies are sending military over to Greenland. They started sending that. The French, the UK, they started sending military over to Greenland to help protect the country against the United States of America. So number one, economically, the dollar would crash because all those people would call in the loans out that the United States of America has, and will plummet into something worse than the Great Depression ever. We'd be by ourselves. Your dollar won't be worth anything. You will be then, and also we will not have the protection of these people. So you got China, you got Russia, you got the Middle East, you got all BRICS, all those people involved. You got North Korea. Now you pissed off Europe. So again, y'all voted for this.
You can't feel sorry.
Yeah.
Let me throw some numbers at you.
Yeah.
The U.S. military budget is by far the world's largest, consuming nearly 40% of global defense spending globally.
Sheesh.
That's a lot, but you got the other 60% you got to deal with.
Right, you got to deal with it, right.
Which is crazy to me that there is rationale that is being pulled here. You know what Trump reminds me of right now?
Right.
You ever seen those couples where like the boyfriend tries to isolate the girlfriend from everybody else, right? Just so they can, get whatever their way is. That's what this feels like right now. Donald Trump is trying to isolate us so he could do whatever he wants.
I pray that we do not invade Greenland. We went in there and took over Venezuela. Donald Trump says the acting president of Venezuela on his Wikipedia page. White supremacy in action. Imperialism. This is what it looks like. And you know what, though? But let me say this, too. When moments like these happen, it is kind of the duty and the responsibility of white people to call out what this is. This is what white supremacy is. And I've always said that white supremacy is in direct contradiction to what's written on the Constitution the Bill of Rights, and the Declaration of Independence as amended through time. So those two things are in direct conflict. And so if America is really trying to live up to the ideals that it says it does, white supremacy can't stand. So this whole administration and this regime is something that shouldn't be a part of the conversation. But the people in power are making it so. But I feel like it is time that white people and white Americans stand up against this, because we are stronger together. If this, if America wants to just be a country of all white people and nobody else, I mean, if that's what you want, cool, but I don't think it's going to go the way you think it's going to go.
It took the unfortunate murder of Renee Good for all of this to take off, and for more white people to really get in, to enter the conversation instead of just being passive. And it's tragic that these things have to happen to see progress go forward.
But it's a Tuesday for black people.
Yep.
In America.
Yep.
What happened to Renee Good is a Tuesday for black people.
Exactly.
Like today is Tuesday. So.
Exactly. Even when looking up Renee Good, I came across November 2023 discovery of unidentified 16-year-old Amanda Breon Noslins, I hope is the correct. So it's so crazy, just like real time. Just the Googling of Renee Good leads to the conversation of this black girl. So,
I mean, it happens. It continues to go on in this country, and hopefully white people will fix it, because we ain't outside. We've been chilling. Like,
we tried in 2024.
We tried. We did our thing during George Floyd, and it was like, we did our thing, and all the corporations, by the way, that said they were for all this. These are the same corporations now that support the administration. So all these people that save your money, Target included. I still ain't been to Target. It's been over a year. I ain't been to Target. Been shopping at Target. These are the same people, and now and at some point, the way that they've been treating people of color and black people and Latino people, they're going to need your money again. They're going to tell you to come shop with them when they've been supporting Trump. They're going to tell you to come use their services when they've been supporting ICE, right? They're going to tell you to stream on their platforms when they've been supporting ICE. They're going to tell you to download their apps when they're supporting ICE. They're going to tell you to watch their microdramas when they're supporting ICE. They're going to tell you to go see their movies and watch their news programs when they're supporting ICE. Remember this. And I think people all the time think that their small, footprint doesn't make a difference. But collectively, it does. This is like pennies. We're all pennies, exactly. Right? We're all pennies, and by ourselves, we're worth 1 cent. But together, it's billions of dollars.
There's this British saying, right? Pennies makes pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Just remember that. You are an important percentage.
We are all part of it. And so I keep saying, get mad. Midterms in November, we're going to have to win margins of 20% to say that the election wasn't rigged or stolen, or it might be the end.
Turn out for this upcoming election the way you all turned out for your local elections this past year.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, you better.
So let's switch to a more fun topic.
Well, this ain't fun, but it's still interesting for to have this conversation, because this is a conversation about cultural appropriation and things like that I don't think people understand what's going on. So if you don't know, there is a place in Southern Cal called Destination Smokehouse Grill.
Yep.
If you don't know, there's a black dude that we call Unc. Everybody been calling him Unc for the longest. And he has been making viral videos for over a year now about how tender the meat is at Destination Smokehouse, and making these. It's just been him by himself making these videos, just gently shaking, ribs, you know what I'm saying? Oxtails. The first one I've ever seen is when he shook an oxtail and the meat just fell off the bone. And he'll slam like and walk off. And in the course of this, he came up with a name, or where he been saying Tendernism, right? And people have been, using it, like Jordan, the Stallion, and all these people have been going by and making videos with Unc, and everybody's been really, really happy. Well, Tendernism has taken off. But what happened is the owner of the Destination Smokehouse Grill I'm trying to remember his name. I can't think of the guy that owns it.
Walter.
Nick Yempremian is the owner, and he has actually trademarked Tendernism, right? Which Unc was saying, but I think he trademarked it in other areas. There's a black attorney that actually trademarked the name Tenderism for apparel, and he trademarked it so that he could give it to Unc, so that he can monetize off of it. But the owner, I think, is having they're blocking people from trying to find it to give him the trademark and sign it over. So apparently, Keith Lee, known for his his reviews, he went to Destination Smokehouse Grill, and he wanted to give a $4,000 tip to Mr. Tenderism as a blessing and a sign of respect. But according to Lee, he ultimately couldn't connect with Johnson because Johnson was filming with security at the restaurant, and the gesture never took place. Lee then gave the money away to patrons coming into the restaurant instead. So the owner blocked him from getting that $4,000 tip, and they kept making it worse and worse. The owner's in the videos with him. So now it's like this big, tall ass, like white dude with Unc, and Unc's like trying to, I think, protect his situation and fears that all these black people coming to his defense will rock the boat and ruin whatever he's got going on. But he is, at this point, Destination Smokehouse Grill. And if he doesn't have ownership, and these are the times that I feel like Nick could actually, these are the times where you could actually say, you know what, I'm going to give you a piece of the company. Like, just doing the right thing. Like, you know what, I'm going to cut you in on this because you are what this is, and you're helping bring, bring attention to our business. But you don't have to. And here we go again, as black people always do. We innovate. We get on there. He making the meat fall off the bone. Got, social media influencers coming by. Created a word called Tendernism. And now here come the man trying to trademark it and capitalize off of it, off black creativity and innovation.
One of the things I'm kind of curious about is how long did Unc work at the restaurant for? That's what
I don't. I'm not sure.
Let's look at.
He's been there a while though. You can look it up. He's been there a while though. And Unc's name is I think it's Walter Johnson. Yep. So Walter Johnson is the guy, and everybody knows they call him Unc. He been shaking the meat off the bone. Walter Johnson, I think he is the head smoke master at the place. So it's been at least 2 or 3 years. I'm telling you right now, because I remember this is like two years ago. I seen him.
So he's been actually working there since 2019.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Nick should have definitely just been like, hey, you've been with me for 7 years through the pandemic. Like,
yeah.
Let me give you a little bit of this company. Nah, Nick in the wrong for this one.
Well, but I mean but again, what do? We innovate, and don't try to protect our IP. So again, when you're working for a place and so Unc started making these videos, and it's great marketing. I don't know if it puts any extra money in his pocket, but he should be compensated for that. And then Tendernism, and the fact that Nick trademarked that and he's not handing that over to Unc, that's the problem.
Yeah. I mean, across the board, it's jacked up. The simple fact he took Tendernism, trademarked it himself, that's problem number one. Problem number two is your dude's been with you for 7 years, bringing all sorts of folks to your business. Should give him a piece of the pie, man. You would have avoided all of this. Do you think this will impact the foot traffic of black people and black celebrities coming through the door?
Absolutely. And here's the thing. I just want to say this, right? To two people in general, black, white, whatever. A gesture of goodwill is okay. It's okay. It's okay to give somebody something for just being there or being part of the situation or being part of the scenario or bringing something that, changes the destination or the trajectory of something that you got going on. It's okay to do that. And I don't understand why people don't do things like that. Like, if you know that you're the person that did that, like if you know that this guy is having an effect on your business, it's okay to be like, you know what? Let me pay you a little extra more. Let me give you a little bit of equity. So if somebody wants to come scoop this up, we all can cash out. You can cash out. But people never do that. And they let greed and they let arrogance and they let ego take over. And it's ultimately, if he doesn't get out of these videos, I think it's going to, I'm not going to say it's necessarily going to ruin his business, but it'll definitely reverse the visibility
Will.
or the attention that people
Yeah.
are giving, and people would be known for saying we're going to go to somewhere else and patronize because you're stealing from a black man.
Do you think somebody's going to try to pick Walter up, another restaurant?
I don't think Walter's leaving because the videos I see he keep making, they call him like Steve from Django, like he hugging on to that man.
That's my point.
You know?
Oh, Steve from Django.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They say he hugging on to that man, like, and I don't know. I mean, you'd have to talk to him, but again, people are having a hard time getting to him and reaching him. So, I mean, who knows, dog? It's unfortunately, that it's unfortunate that this is going on, but hopefully Walter gets his check and he will make some things pop off.
So, with that being said, let's talk about Mr. Kai Cenat, man.
So I want to touch on this briefly because I was online last week and saw people criticizing Kai Cenat for a few things. One, he said he quit streaming or quit. I don't know what that meant. He just said, I quit. He didn't, and sometimes Kai is a great master marketer. It might mean something entirely different, but he said, I quit. He started his own fashion brand and launched that. He said he spent some months. He spent some months in Europe learning about fashion materials, stuff like that. He was really taking it seriously, and it's great. And then online, he was reading online and trying to expand his vocabulary, and people were trying to criticize him and make fun of him for that. And I thought that was just in poor taste to be able to do that. But one of the things that I really thought was interesting is that he made a post referring to the founder of Twitch, and I want to make sure that I say his name right. He made reference to Dan. What is his name? I said Dan Clancy. So Clancy, if y'all don't remember, Dan Clancy is the CEO of Twitch. He's not the founder. He's the CEO of Twitch, and said that Kai Cenat didn't belong on the Mount Rushmore of streamers, right? But he told Kai at Mafiathon 3 that he was on the Mount Rushmore. Then there was a video of him saying he wasn't. So Kai just posted a video of him having a conversation with Clancy and really calling him out on, bruh, you cap, like you're bullshitting. Like, you said I didn't belong on the Mount Rushmore of streamers. He goes, oh, well, if I said that I didn't mean that, or I misspoke, or whatever it is. And Kai just put no accountability. And I think he's gotten to the end of people trying to exploit him on Twitch or whatever, these people exploiting him, and he's going to venture out on his own. And I think that's really good.
No, I want to give him one of the things I was reading, and there was a great post that the impact that Kai Cenat will have doing this 20 minutes of reading a day is going to be huge for the Gen Alpha generation growing up. Like, I think I will appreciate them. I will appreciate Kai for this one reason above all, like more so than even his impact in the streaming game.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. It touches me in a way because I'll say this, like, so for those that don't know, I didn't go to college.
Yeah.
I didn't go to college, and I made the decision not to. But something that I did my sophomore, junior, and senior year, and a year after I graduated college, was I worked at the public library. And I used to shelf books right here in the city of Atlanta and for years. And I read so much. That was my college, right? My college was, taking books home from the library about a multitude of things: politics, geography, science, math, arts, literature, all these things. And so I encourage young people to read because it really expanded my knowledge base about the things that I know. And I think young people should get into reading and really expand their vocabulary. So I applaud Kai for that, because without reading and that opportunity to have access to all those books, I wouldn't know most of the things that I know right now, and I was passionate about learning. So I applaud Kai for that. I think it's important.
And I think on the fashion front, man, he's doing what he's supposed to do, right? Like you become a master of something, and then that becomes the gateway to you being able to do everything, right? Like
100%.
That's what he's doing. That's what everybody does. And I think, I look forward to, me, I'm a huge supporter of black brands, black businesses, especially black fashion. So I look forward to purchasing his stuff as long as it's not, thousands and thousands of dollars. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. He got them good materials though.
Make it accessible, man.
He playing, Kai ain't playing with y'all. He say, hey, man, this is gonna cost. But it looked really. I like that he's expressing himself, and also he's diversifying his income streams, because he's creating things that I think that he has a right to outside of being a streamer. And that might be outside of his management team. That might be outside of A&P. I think he's making the smartest thing. Like, I'm going to create a fashion brand. He started Clover Crib. He started, all these things that are different, that are outside of the lane of people that have already, that he's kind of may have business relationships with. I'm not sure that they have anything to do with this, but I think that that's smart for him because he's building his own individual kind of path, and by doing this, he might not always have to be tied to being just a streamer. And people grow, people advance. So I think that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, did you think, like, even 10 years, I don't think people stay consistent. 10 years ago, what were you doing? 10 years ago, I was doing something completely different, like, and had different goals. And
there wasn't a fan base 10 years ago.
Yeah, so I mean, good for him, man. Like, super awesome. Thank you for, showing, the rest of the world Black culture in the way that he has.
Absolutely.
So this is one I'm super excited to talk about.
Go ahead and talk Druski real quick.
So over the past week, comedian Druski dropped a viral sketch parodying mega church pastors and the culture around Black mega churches.
Yeah.
In the video, Druski exaggerates the spectacle of a pastor preaching from high above a congregation in flashy designer clothes, demanding millions in offerings, driving off in a nice, I think it was a Rolls Royce.
Yeah,
like,
Rolls Royce.
The clip has drawn tens of millions of views and sparked a massive online conversation about faith, how we perceive our pastors, and the authenticity of the modern Black church, man. And the reactions were divided. I have to say, man, good on him. He's calling up. My mother is a priest, a pastor. She's not a mega pastor. So honestly, good for him. I love seeing him just speaking to the hypocrisy of what some of these pastors be preaching, man.
Well, I mean, first thing I want to say is it's comedy.
Yeah.
So number one, it's comedy. It's not like this is a person that did, like, it's not like Druski took a hidden camera into all the mega churches and tried to see the undercover dealings of what preachers are doing, how they're taking advantage of people. They're journalists that do stuff like that. I think Druski knows how to do these really over the top, really detailed, high produced sketches that are, just break the internet every time he does it. When he was the NASCAR guy, right, or whatever, and just the certain things that he does. And so for this, I think the church has a sensitive skin about some people in the church, because some pastors are cool with it, but a lot of the mega church pastors have had something to say about it. But they always say a hit dog will holler. And so I feel like if he's not talking about you, that's the thing. It's not in certain situations when people know that they're not talking about you, I mean, you don't respond. But if you feel like they are, then you're really telling people you think you're part of the problem and what's going on. And the sketch is hilarious. Now, he's flying in the air, got red bottoms on. He got Rolls Royces. He got on like a Chanel coat. It's something crazy.
But that's all based of, like, there's a dude, I love that.
This is all based off real
things. Like, come on, guys. Yeah. Just go look at the real things.
Yeah, like y'all mad at him doing stuff like that. And I think he's highlighting the commercialization of the church.
Yeah.
And I think, people have been critical of the church for a very, very long time because churches are nonprofits. They rake in billions of dollars a year for people who have faith in things that they believe in. And a lot of times people say, like, oh, well, then if I go to my church and say, right now we're in an economic downturn, could you help me out? A lot of people are getting told no. But did you give your tithe and offering? Did you give us money?
Exactly.
But when I need you ain't give us money. And that's one of the things, kind of, honestly, this is a true story. And my mom probably, I don't know. My mom may or may not care that I share this, but when my dad filed for bankruptcy, a lot of the people, including the church, that she threw a fashion show. She did a fashion show for the church to raise money for the church. And when we fell on hard times and my dad filed for bankruptcy, she went back to that same church and they ain't had no money for her. And they didn't have no money for us. And it really broke her heart. And I think that's when she started to withdraw from the church, but she never withdrew from God. She never withdrew from her spirituality, her faith. And in turn, the way that affected her, that's why people say, well, do you not, like, how come you don't really go to church? And I say, well, our relationship with the church, um, individually has been different because I've seen the church turn their back on my family in ways that when they needed our help, and she raised a lot of money for the church. I can't remember how much it is. I remember my mom talking about that, but that really hurt her. And so we put our faith in God,
Yeah.
and we put our faith in, the Jesus and our Lord and Savior, but not men who wield power and wealth in these institutions of worship, which some are great and doing amazing, great things, but there are a few mega churches out here that know that they taking money, because no one should be, every churches should be able to create funds for all the members' children to have college tuition. Churches should be able to take all the people in the community, and actually almost churches should be able to function almost like equity crowdfunding. Church congregation builds a business, they loan that person the business from the church, that person builds up their business, all the people from the community use that business, and now you have Black-owned businesses in Black communities, but that's not necessarily happening with churches all the time. So I think what Druski has pointed out is that there is a little bit of distance between what people feel the Black church should be doing and what the Black church is actually doing. And I think that that parity is striking a chord with a lot of the people that feel guilty maybe about the type of relationship that they've had with the community.
More people are, and I'll say, and you put the number in the lower thirds, are now assigning themselves to be more spiritual than they are necessarily religious, right? When I think of religion, it's as you described it. You show up to a church every day. You can still have faith in God, but may not want to go do it in an established institution.
100%.
Sure. Why do you think this, on the other side, resonated with so many people?
Because it was funny.
Yeah.
Again, it was so, and I talk about the 4 pillars of engagement.
Right.
So this was the 4 pillars of engagement, right? It was attention. Druski brought attention to something that a lot of people don't feel a way about, but never really talk about. Yeah. He provided information on that, right? Like he was telling, like, oh, they taking money from people and buying Rolls Royces and all that kind of stuff. It's entertaining as hell because he made it funny, and it made people feel a type of way. So the 4 pillars of engagement are attention, information, entertainment, and conflict. When you have all 4 of those things together, you will get the most viral moments that you ever saw. Instances of the 4 pillars are the Cat Williams interview with Shannon Sharpe, this Druski sketch. On a more consistent level every day is like First Take or The View, right? Those viral moments where they say, okay, it's attention to whatever the actor, the movie is, the information about the best back to school sales for the fall, right? Entertainment, artist comes on and performs. And conflict, the hosts go at each other at the beginning of The View. And so conflict is a big part of that. So I think the conflict part about this is really what's bringing the attention to it, because Druski's always funny. He's never not funny, but now he's funny at the expense of a community that doesn't like it. And I think that's a little bit hypocritical, but that's what it is.
Do you think this skit will cause the pastors who feel that they were called out to kind of pull back on the perception, as in the clothes they wear, the cars they drive?
No.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't think so. I think it'll put more in mind of the people that are actually giving the money than the people that are actually taking the money. And what is my money actually going towards? Like, are you using me? You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, faith is a powerful thing. People put their faith in the church and a lot of things and a lot of institutions. And so I think people, are, and it's okay to question. It's okay to question, like, where's this money going? Like, what are we doing with this money? Like, they really, it's okay to question sometimes, but preachers don't want you to question. Yeah. They say, give your offering and all that kind of stuff. And so, I mean, again, shout out to the churches that really take that, this money and do things in the community that I think are amazing.
So with that being said, we're now going to our last topic of the evening.
Why not?
No, I said we're going. Let's.
Oh, we are. I was going to say we about to go.
Yeah,
so
we are. Yeah.
So this last topic of the evening is just something that I noticed, and I have to talk about this because it really brought up in my mind something that I felt was was extremely, I don't know, personal to me, in that I don't understand what's going on. So I'll just say it: R&B and rap music suck right now. They suck really bad. What do you think about current rap and R&B music? It sucks. It sucks. Like, I posted a video maybe a couple of weeks of all the R&B artists, that came out in just a 6-year span from 90 to 96, and it dwarfs anything that came out.
So it's so funny, like the trending sounds on TikTok, like what was it, The Troop, right? Like it's all 90s based, right?
All 90s R&B. So here's something that I noticed, and I said, I see a vulnerability. And I said, what I see is there's a vulnerability in R&B and rap music right now, where the older generation of artists and producers could actually take the genre back over and run it for a multitude of reasons, right? And so what I mean by that is, I say everybody from Drake on up could take this genre and kill it. And I'm talking about everybody as old as the legacy older artists. I'm talking from Jay-Z to, like, I know that Dre doesn't want to rap from Outkast, but everybody could come and take this genre back, because we aren't creating real original music, real original content. We're just recycling the same type of beats, the same type of stuff. And I have proof to back this up. Number one, first and foremost, I'm gonna say this. Shout out to all the people, because what I do is I watch R&B Money podcasts. Shout out to Tank and Jay Valentine. But I always see some writer get on there and talk about some song that they wrote or some artist. I'm like, nobody's making music like this. The only person that does make music like this is Bruno Mars, right? And I love that Bruno Mars says, he goes, if I can't get you in 9 songs, I'm not gonna get you in 19. So these albums where y'all putting 20, 30, 40 songs out, that means the music ain't good enough. If you got to put 25 songs on the album, 20 songs on the album, your shit ain't popping. Michael Jackson Thriller was 9 songs. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's you can get 12, you can get 12 songs and put a great album out. So my call to the R&B and hip hop community is, first of all, to the producers. So, like, the Baby Faces of the world, the Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis's of the world, the Jermaine Dupri's of the world, you guys need to get in the studio and start producing again. But I know you're probably producing now, but pull out them old sounds. Jam and Lewis, pull out them keyboards that you was using on Control and Rhythm Nation. Babyface, pull them Rhodes back out, right? JD, pull those signature sounds from the early 90s and the mid 90s that you were doing when you were creating all these amazing songs like You Make Me Wanna and In My Bed remix. Take all those sounds, get you some young protege producers to help you produce this music with you, and run the table and get the songwriting back in the building and take the game over. And you want to know why I say this? It's one man, 2 words, Max Martin. For you guys that don't know who Max Martin is, Max Martin was the pop, like, god of the early 2000s, late 90s. Produced NSYNC, the Backstreet Boys, and Britney Spears. And he was gone. But Max Martin came back. He started working with Dr. Luke. And in the past, let's say 5 or 6 years alone, Max Martin has worked with Taylor. He's produced Taylor Swift's album, 2 of them, The Weeknd, 2 albums, Ariana Grande, Lizzo, Dua Lipa, and Coldplay. And all these are and this is Max Martin. He's had 2 phenomenal runs. If Max Martin can do it, Babyface, you can do it. Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, you can do it. You know what I'm saying? Jermaine, you can do it. And to the artists, I'm talking about Jay-Z, Beyonce, Janet Jackson, 2 Chainz, Rick Ross, Jeezy. I said T.I. just put a song out. That's really what got me talking. T.I., like, I want to see you get back with Toomp. Like, let's get it going. Like, because ain't nobody putting out no real heavy hitting ass music right now. Like, and that's just, from a music lover, from one music lover to another, they ain't putting out no real good music right now.
Let me ask you a question, right?
Yeah.
The thing that we were just talking about trending, the 90s songs trending on social media, right? What is the role that AI music, creative music could play into this?
Nothing. I don't think that it could play any type of role. I think that people are longing for emotion. Like, when I listen to old records, And I don't listen to old records because I'm older. I listen to old records because they have real human subject matter to the things that they're talking about, right? I love you. I miss you. You hurt my feelings. You broke my heart. I want to be with you. You make me happy. You know, you're cheating on me. Like all these songs now or rap records with social commentary. We're talking about things that are going on in our community. We talk about things that went on in the government. We talked about local and local officials. I remember Goody Mob used to talk crazy about Bill Campbell and Bill Clinton on their albums, right? Like Public Enemy used to talk about Ronald Reagan and George Bush, like on their music, right? And we're not using our voices to create that. And so AI to me has no kind of like representation in this matter. It's just the fact that we need to get back to actually telling real human stories, because everything out right now is just a bunch of people trying to get over on each other emotionally. I'm gonna cheat on you before you cheat on me. I'm gonna get money from you. I'm gonna get money out of you before you get money out of me. And it's just old. But there is a opportunity here. And another thing that I like to point out is that a 50-year-old man produced the greatest album of all time with a 20-something-year-old artist, and that was Michael Jackson and Quincy Jones. Quincy Jones was 50 years old when he produced Thriller. So
Jeez, I did not know he was that old.
he was 50 years old when he produced Thriller. So it's not too late. That's what I'm saying. It's like Max Martin out here whooping y'all ass. Max Martin be on the charts. He be on the Hot 100s like multiple times. Like 2 Taylor Swift albums, two Weekend albums. And if you listen to the songs I'm talking about, these are all singles like crazy. When I looked at one of Lizzo's previous albums, he did Max Martin produced Am I Ready to Be Loved. You know that song? That Lizzo song? You'll listen to it, but Max Martin produced that. He produced Supernatural on Ariana Grande's Eternal Sunshine, the last time this came out. He produced I want to say he produced like I Can't Feel My Face and I Love It.
I can't. I know which one because I was just looking it up. It was,
if you pull up all the songs, hold up. Matter of fact, I'm gonna pull up.
Actually, I got it right now. Can't Stop the Feeling.
Yeah.
Love Me Like You Do.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Those were just his nominations. Shake It Off, Blank Space, Bad Blood.
Keep going.
Can't Feel My Face, The Weeknd, Blinding Lights.
Keep going.
Yes and
Keep going.
The Fate of Ophelia, One More Night, like Teenage Dreams, California Girls, I Kissed a Girl, It's Gonna Be Me. Jesus Christ.
So listen.
He's got, let's see, 28 Billboard Hot 100 #1 singles.
Yeah. I was looking at the people that Max Martin produced, and I was saying like this, like Max Martin produced, and just from I went back to 2020. So he produced, and these are all the artists that Max Martin has produced for since 2020. I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna get this on my phone, right? So 2020, he produced The Weeknd, so Blinding Lights. He produced Lady Gaga, Zara Lawson. He produced Coldplay's entire album in 2021, the Jonas Brothers, Taylor Swift. He produced Adele, a song on Adele's 30 album. He produced The Weeknd with Take My Breath. A bunch of other stuff on The Weeknd. Then he produced Lizzo's album. He produced One Special, Girls, To Be Loved. Then he produced Pink, Kim Petras. Then Ed Sheeran. And then Post Malone, and then Taylor Swift again for 1989. He produced that album. Taylor Swift, Ariana Grande. He produced Yes and Bye, Eternal Sunshine, Supernatural, The Boy Is Mine, We Can't Be Friends. Look, Coldplay again, Childish Gambino, The Weeknd. I'm just running out. Taylor Swift, Life of a Showgirl. Anyway, my point is, black music, I want to see Jagged Edge. I want to see 112. I want to see Boyz II Men. Like, I want to see all these producers and writers that were dominating the early and mid-90s and 2000s to do the same thing that Max Martin is doing in black music, and it can be done.
These dudes from Sweden have a foot on our necks.
Oh, of course.
Ludwig Göransson, like, he was the second actor because both of them are from Sweden.
Mm-hmm.
Something's come out of Sweden that
they're very big on pop.
Yeah,
that's even Stargate. Stargate did all Rihanna's big hits.
Wow.
So yeah, so I mean, look, it's just it's this is my little personal, music moment on the pod today that R&B and hip hop are in dire straits. Shout out to Andre Harris, who's nominated for Kalani, folded for the Grammys, nominated. But remember, but Dre and Vidal did Caught Up, and they did Superstar and Usher on Confession. So think about that. That was 22 years ago. So imagine
Still
producing something 22 years ago, and then now you're back with another record. That's what I'm saying. Dre is letting you know, like, you can do this, right? And that's the point. It's a wide open opportunity. Time to go, though.
So, sir, we didn't say it once here, but I think we deserve to say it one more time
Yes.
before we get out of here.
We are coming to the end of our $17 million Regulation A equity crowdfund on Start Engine. Thank you to everybody. We are right at about $17 million. We're over $16.9 million raised for Fanbase. And so I want to thank everybody that has invested in the platform and continues to support and continues to get on the wait list of investing and things like that. And we appreciate you. So, there's a lot in store for what we got coming in 2026. Microdramas, post-simplification, algorithm, other things, a lot of changes this year. So I'm excited to be working with everybody at the company and what we're doing this year. So until the next episode, which probably the next episode we would have closed this round, but shout out to everybody, and we'll see you on the next episode of Invested. All right, later.